U.S.-China trade talks resuming today in Washington. And here's what investors at Delivering Alpha had to say about the possibility of a trade deal.
If we don't get a trade deal done quickly, then coming into next year, China has quite an incentive to actually say no to anything and push for a recession.
Their quarters are quarter of a century.
Yeah, that's it, right?
So they have a much, much longer ability to have the tolerance to do that.
We believe there is a trade war. The rhetoric will come down, but there will be no deal that's a meaningful deal, just a feel-good deal for maybe to prop the markets through the election.
Not a ton of optimism there on that panel. Joining us to discuss is Myron Brilliant, head of international affairs at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. So, Myron, you've been meeting with Chinese officials representing American business. What's your sense of the best probabilities right now for a deal?
Well, Sarah, I was in China last week and met with the Chinese premier and other government officials. I was actually somewhat encouraged. I had a small group of CEOs with me. The meeting was supposed to be 30 minutes. It ended up being 75 minutes. The principal message back to us is that we want to deal with the United States. It's not going to be easy. There are some differences between the two sides, but we want a deal. I think this week is very important. It's like the point guards are in town to set it up for the principals. The principals are the forwards here. Bob Lighthizer, Ambassador Lighthizer, Secretary Mnuchin will host Vice Premier Li He in about 2 weeks. And I expect that we'll have more then than we will in the next couple of days. But we're on the track to having serious conversations. Whether we're going to get a short-term deal or a bigger term, we're going to find that out. What we want to focus is on what we need to see, improvements in the U.S.-China relationship. We need China to, of course, deal with intellectual property theft, deal with industrial policies, concerns we have around forced technology, range of issues. And we're going to see how serious China is when they come here in October.
But Myron, just to confirm, did you say you met directly with the Premier, with Premier Li?
I did for about 75 minutes last week. And I was encouraged. A strong signal to us of the importance that China is placing on these talks, and also encouraging us to recognize the importance that they're placing on the American business community.
In terms of where we stand with the U.S. economy and the impact of tariffs, would you say that the impact has been less than the worst-case doomsday scenario predictions?
Well, we've been clear. We view tariffs as attacks on American consumers, farmers, and manufacturers. But we also are clear that China has some obligations to address the unfair trade practices that the administration has been seeking from the beginning to address. We are fully in support of what President Trump and his team is trying to do there. The question is how to get a good result for the United States and for the business community and for the people of our country. And that's where more work is needed. There are differences between the two sides. We know that when the talks failed in late April.
So there was a quote today that spooked the market. I don't know if you saw it, from Michael Pillsbury, who has been praised by President Trump. It is said to be an advisor on trade, saying tariffs on Chinese goods could go to 50% or 100% if China does not make a deal. What would happen to the U.S. economy then?
Well, of course, an escalation is in no one's interest. We've got to get away from the tit for tat, because if the United States escalates things, that's going to hurt us here, but also China will respond. What we want to do is find calmer waters. We want the two sides to get back to the table in a serious way. As I said, this week is about the staff preparing for the principals to meet later in early October. And ultimately, the two presidents are going to have to make political decisions about getting a deal done. Can we get it done? Absolutely. Is there still a lot of gap between the two sides? Yes. But they can be overcome if the political will is there. Let's not forget, though, this is in the background of some positive news on trade. We know that USMCA is moving in the right direction. We know that Speaker Pelosi, the President of the United States, and Ambassador Lighthizer are having productive conversations. We have confidence we can see that happening. We know that a small deal on India and Japan are going to happen probably next week. So there is some good news on the trade front, but bottom line is we got to see progress in the U.S.-China relationship. This is what the world's paying attention to, and we've got to make sure that the two sides come to the table prepared to really seriously negotiate and get a deal done that's going to serve to bring stability and certainty to the business community.